We've talked in the past about what to do when your baby wakes up early from a nap, but we haven't talked about what to do when your baby won't even fall asleep for a nap in the first place. So today we're going to talk about how to respond, what to do when your baby won't fall asleep, whether that's for nap or bedtime. Hello there. If you're new here, my name's Valerie. I have been blogging since 2007, helping parents love parenthood, make parenting easier on people. And currently I have 4 children, ages 8 to 15 years old. And of course, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If your baby isn't falling asleep when it's nap time, you probably wonder, what's the best course of action to take? Should you get your baby up? Should you help your baby fall back asleep? Should you leave your baby in the bed? What do you do? Let's go ahead and talk about this. I'm going to give you a few different ideas of what to do in this situation, and you won't do all of them every time necessarily, and you will probably find that some things may not work for your baby in general, and other things work really well for your baby. So you will have to do some experimenting to find out what the right answer is for your baby. The first thing I want you to try to do is to resettle your baby. So you've put your baby in bed, your baby will not fall asleep. Go into the room, get baby up, and redo your sleep routine, or an abbreviated version of your sleep routine. So do your sleep routine and then put baby back in bed. It's like you're hitting a restart button on this nap. So you're going to try that and see if baby will then go to sleep. I did have one child who this did not work for. It was actually my boy. So if I say he, it's pretty obvious who it was. He would not go back to sleep if I did this. He would absolutely not sleep if I did this. So I could not do this with him, but it did work with all 3 of my girls. If resettling didn't work for your baby, you need another option. So another great option is to move your baby somewhere else where she can sleep. Maybe that's the swing, maybe that's a front carrier that you have on you, maybe that's in your arms, maybe that's in a bouncy seat. Moving your baby somewhere else so that your baby will get some sleep. Something you really want to do is avoid having your baby get overly tired, especially the younger your baby, the more often you're going to move to this option, and the sooner you will move to this option. So you want to avoid your baby becoming overly tired because that will hurt the rest of the day's sleep. I do talk about this a lot more in my newborn sleep hierarchy, so be sure to see that blog post or my video. Another option for you to consider is you may just need to leave your baby in bed until he falls asleep. So it may take longer than you think it should, but you may find that your best option is to leave him in bed until he falls asleep. Another option is to essentially skip the nap. This obviously isn't ideal. This can't be your choice every single nap cycle, but you may find, you know what, I need to just get my baby up, feed my baby, and then put my baby back down for another nap. If you do this, I recommend that you try to feed your baby as close to the next feeding time as possible. It won't be perfect because there's this whole nap that was missed, but do your best to do that. And just realize you probably are going to feed your baby and put your baby right back down for a nap right away. Also, if you do that, then you can let your baby take a long nap next time. So if your baby usually takes like a 1.5 hour nap, it would be okay to do a 2.5 hour nap or even 3 hour nap if your baby would the next nap to recover that sleep that was fully missed and to get back on a normal schedule. So if your baby won't fall asleep for a nap, you basically have one of those 4 options. Restart the routine and try to get that nap in, or you move baby somewhere where she will sleep, or you leave her in bed and wait until she will sleep, or you just get her up and start your next cycle. Okay, so we've talked about what to do, but obviously we want to prevent this from happening again, right? So you have some ideas of what to do in the moment, but let's get some ideas of how to prevent this from becoming a moment again. I have 7 tips for you to prevent this. First, I really want you to keep notes, like really, really detailed notes. I want you to track what your baby's wake time length was. I want you to take note of what your sleep routine was. I want you to take note of what you put your baby in for the nap, like how you dressed your baby. I want you to take note of what wake time activities you did before that nap, and also things like sleep cues. If you need help taking these notes, I have a book of logs that I sell that's an ebook that you can print off that are the exact things that I used for my babies to keep track of their schedules and get it all figured out. Super helpful. You'll be able to track all the details you need. And I was always surprised that when I wrote things down, that how much was different from what I thought it was in my head. Another really important thing for you to take note of is, this is your second tip, is my baby in pain or have some sort of sickness going on? So if there's gas pains, your baby's not going to be able to fall asleep. Or if your baby has an ear infection, or if your baby has a cold, these are all things that can prevent your baby from falling asleep. If it's something like sickness, then you comfort your baby and wait for your baby to not be sick and then worry about getting sleep down. If it's something like a gas pain, then there are things like gas drops or gripe water you can use to help your baby not be in pain so that he'll be able to fall asleep. Another thing to take note of is your wake time length. Was your baby up too long, or was your baby not up long enough? If wake time length is off, then your baby will have a hard time falling asleep, and that it can be hard for your baby to fall asleep if she's overtired or if she's undertired. Sometimes even just 5 minutes can make the difference in a poor nap or a great nap. The fourth thing is to look at stimulation levels. If your baby had way too much activity going on, then it can be hard for your baby to fall asleep. Also, conversely, if your baby didn't have enough going on, it can be hard for your baby to fall asleep. So that's why I want you to track all of these details so you can look at it and see if there's a pattern. Like every time, as I look at all these notes, I see that every time that we did XYZ at playtime, my baby couldn't fall asleep for that nap. Your fifth thing is to look at your schedule. Does something about your schedule need to change? Sometimes your baby may have a hard time falling asleep because he needs to move to a 4-hour schedule. I do have a video about that and a blog post about that. So if you think that could be a thing, make sure you check those out so you can figure out if you think, yeah, I think a 4-hour schedule might be our answer. Another schedule change that could need to happen is dropping a nap. You might need to drop a nap because too much daytime sleep can lead to not sleeping well for naps or for bedtime. The sixth thing you need to focus on to prevent this not falling asleep for naps in the future is to be consistent with your schedule. Be consistent with what time your baby gets up each day. Be consistent with what time is bedtime. Be consistent about the intervals that you have between feedings each day. Consistency makes all the difference in the world. Not only does consistency help your baby get on a solid routine and be able to fall asleep easily, but it also helps you to be able to identify things that impact your baby's sleep. If everything's different about the day, it's really hard to say what does and doesn't work. But if you have certain things that are consistent and then one little thing's tweaked, then it's easy to say, oh, that's the change that needs to happen. Your seventh thing is to make sure you have a very solid sleep routine. It doesn't have to be long to be effective, but take note of what you do and how your baby responds to that. So does your baby do really well with reading a book before nap? Does your baby sleep better with being moved into pajamas before nap versus staying in day clothes? Does your baby like to have you sing to her or to hold her for a while before going into nap? So figure out what works for your baby and then just make sure you're very consistent about that routine. Okay, that wraps up what to do when your baby will not fall asleep for naps and how to prevent that in the future. If you have more questions, I do have a blog post about this, so you can check that out to read up more about this topic. And if you still have questions, always feel free to drop a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching and have a great day.